Welcome back to another episode of Motogp Mac, and today we're going to talk about the upcoming race this weekend in India. Now, before we get into it, here is the schedule for Friday. Here is the schedule for Saturday. And here is the schedule for Sunday. Now, there's been quite a lot of bad press going on around what is happening with the Grand Prix this weekend. Of course, this is the first time that majority of the MotoGP riders are even in India, and there has been a lot of issues with riders, team managers, etc. getting their visas sorted for India. Now, is this Dorna's problem? I don't necessarily think so. I think alright that Dorna do give them a note or an accreditation to go with their visa application, but what it seems like is that not a lot were pre-approved for their visas. I personally have traveled to India, and I do know that you need to get your visa done, pre-approved and everything before you even fly there. Some people were flying there on the hope that the issue would be sorted, only to be turned away. Some never even took off or were delayed. So like Marc Marquez, Fabio Quartararo, they were delayed 24 hours at minimum to get their visa issue sorted. My understanding is that 500 visa applications were approved today, Wednesday, and that more were going to be approved later on. So they felt very happy that majority of the people will get in for the race weekend. There were some stories going around that Dorna was only going to do a 2-lapper race, that way that they wouldn't get caught for the cancellation of the Grand Prix if the riders couldn't get in. But I think that was just more scare tactics than anything. About the track, I know the track from the Formula 1 days. It is, there's 3 high-speed straights, good few mid-range twisty bits. So if I was to kind of call it, I would call it again like a Catalunya type circuit. I do think it's going to be quite heavy on the rear tire, a lot of acceleration zones, a lot of high-speed corners. So I do think it's going to wear away the rear tire a little bit more. The teams nowadays would have had someone out there doing simulations and giving feedback for simulations. So I don't think it'll be a completely new track to what they imagine. But I suppose it will be a new track that they do need to learn, and it's what team is going to adapt best to learning this circuit. It's hard to bet against Ducati, but saying that Aprilia do have a good setup in this type of circuit. You remember how strong they were in Catalunya. But I think overall, everyone is going to really struggle there, and I expect the track to be pretty dirty. They have done a lot of modifications to this circuit, so there will be a lot of dirt ingrained into the tarmac. No matter how much they clean or power wash it, is never really going to be clean as ready for racing. But I think maybe by the end of Sunday we should be okay. Now the riders are getting extra tires as well this weekend because it is a brand new circuit, so it's given them a little bit of flexibility. It's always hard to look, as I said, past the Ducatis. The Hondas, I wish them the best of luck on a green circuit, and they can't trust the front end. I do expect, being honest though, an awful lot of crashes over the course of this weekend, in through all classes, not just MotoGP. It will be interesting though to see what factory team have prepared the best, but also how fast they can adapt, how fast can they tune this bike, because while some riders were learning the circuit from the PlayStation, while it is close enough, there's nothing quite like riding it in real life. Lars Capirossi rode the circuit today, Wednesday, as well, and said that he's quite happy with it. It's quite normal that the circuit has not yet been homologated. That normally only happens on a Thursday anyway, so they're right there. There is a lot of fuss around the circuit as there's been delays in getting the circuit to the standard that it's expected to be at. But I would think at this stage, the FIM, if the circuit didn't meet the standards, they wouldn't have flown all the equipment, etc. out there. So I don't think they'd be silly enough not to have a delegation already in there if there was a concern that the track was not up to standards. For Friday's practice, it's going to be really hard to pick. You're like picking things out of thin air. But what I'm actually going to go with, and I think I'm going to have to go with Brad Binder to be fastest man on Friday. But I would definitely love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the Indian debacle with the visas so far, and who do you think fastest man on Friday is going to be? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.